We are roughly a month into the regular season here in year number 3 of the San Francisco Giants franchise here on MLB The Show 24. And so far, things are going pretty well. The team currently sits at 16-10, but things are going to get a lot harder for us as we get towards the month of May with some big series coming up against some of the National League's top contenders. So it's going to be an opportunity for us to really prove ourselves as a team who's certainly hoping to make a push for the playoffs. In the last episode, we had plenty of walk-offs. Max Kepler won it in our home opener with a 2-run shot against Boston. Then a couple days later against San Diego, a 2-run shot by J.P. Crawford won us the game. But we lost one days later with a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 10th inning by Anthony Volpe to deliver the Yankees their only second win of the entire season as Camilo Doval blew his second save of the year. As we look towards May, we've got the Reds on the road, who are even better than they were last year. The Dodgers twice. The Astros are 9-17, but they're also only 1 year removed from winning 108 games. I would not count them out yet, along with teams such as Arizona, Minnesota, and even the Marlins, who haven't been too bad coming up on the schedule as well. As it stands now, we're in second place in the division, and we are also currently the second wild card spot. But we're also only a game away from that first spot out, which belongs to the Marlins, a team who's already taken 2 of 3 from us back in April. So as we look at our team, earlier in the year, it was about the offense, but the offense has certainly cooled down. We're still 6th in runs. We're still 7th in average. We're only 19th in walks, which is a little bit concerning, though, but we are top 10 in on base. We are top 10 in slugging, which means our OPS is right around that 9 or 10 mark. I think the biggest surprise, though, is the power. We are first in doubles, which is really good, but we're 22nd in home runs. One of this team's strengths on paper is power, and we haven't really seen it. Our home run leader has only 5, and that being Blake Sabol. Sure, we've had guys like Jun-Hoo Lee and J.P. Crawford hit for great contact, which is what we want to see. But Munetaka Murakami only has 4 home runs. Jorge Soler only has 3. Soler really started the year off poorly and is finally playing well. Guys with high expectations like Max Kepler, Cedric Mullins, and Marco Luciano are struggling, but others like Liover Peguero and Elliot Ramos are really succeeding, so much so that both of them are pretty high on our team's WAR leaderboard, even though they only have around half as many at-bats. Peguero's hitting .377. He's already got 7 extra base hits this year and an OPS above 1,000. He is taking Marco Luciano's job as the regular shortstop. As for Elliot Ramos, he's been highly productive as well, with an OPS around .890, and he's going to continue to dig into the playing time of Max Kepler and Cedric Mullins as long as they struggled. Tommy Rogers, of course, is playing well in AAA. Kyler Rodriguez has started off a little bit slowly, but he's still hitting for good power and drawing a ton of walks. But I think with Tommy specifically, it's going to be hard to keep him off of the big league roster for too much longer. OPS at 910, WAR is at around 1. I think he's 20th or so in all of AAA position players in that category, and he leads our AAA team in terms of WAR currently. If he does get called up, though, who are we going to send down? Because as long as Elliot Ramos is playing this well, it's not going to be him. So guys like Max Kepler, Cedric Mullins, and to a lesser extent Jorge Soler are pretty much playing for their jobs at the moment. While the offense has been up and down, the pitching has been fantastic, especially the rotation. We're 2nd in ERA, we're 4th in hits allowed, 7th in home runs allowed, we're 2nd in walks allowed, so as you can tell, the rotation is very well rounded. We're only 19th in strikeouts allowed, and it's not a surprise to me that the strikeouts are the lowest mark because we haven't really prioritized K per 9 with our pitching, and it's worked out. I mean, the rotation's been fantastic. Aaron Savale in 5 games is averaging 7.5 innings per start, ERA below 2, WHIP below 1. Kyle Harrison has completely broken out. Now, I don't want to get too excited quite yet because he started the last couple of seasons off pretty strong before slowing down once we got into May and June, but he hasn't been this good with an ERA below 2 and a WHIP barely above 1. Even Robbie Ray has been highly productive, turning back the clock with an ERA at 2.34 and a WAR at 1. Logan Webb has been Logan Webb, and Mason Miller, for being the worst of the group, has still been pretty darn good. The bullpen's been a little bit more up and down, but still overall quite good. The pitching has easily been the strength of the team, easily the best starting rotation in baseball right now, and the bullpen hasn't been bad either. So we're going to make it into the month of May, simulating our next 2 series, 2 games at home against Seattle, and then 3 on the road against the Washington Nationals. Warner Green, one of our top pitching prospects in Double-A, suffers a shoulder injury. He'll be out for a month or two. And this is unfortunate because Green is obviously a big-time prospect for us. Drafted him in the second round last year, and he's a player who we have a lot of hope for with A potential. He's started in a few games so far and has been pretty solid, all things considered, with an ERA at 3.63 and a whip at 1.34. Luinder Avila will replace him in the Double-A rotation. He has an ERA at about 20 and a whip at 4, yet his WAR is still positive. That doesn't make sense. He's allowed 14 hits in less than 4 innings of work. Sean Jelly, one of our AAA pitchers, gets hurt as well, so our minor league pitching depth is getting depleted fast. Let's hop into this game against the Mariners. Liover Peguero has a 15-game hitting streak on the line. He's played in 15 games for us this year. He's gotten a hit in all of them as he draws a walk, his second of the game. Since we're only in the 7th, there is a chance he gets another at-bat, and sure enough, he will here in the bottom of the 8th. Still tied at 3, runners on first and second. Huge at-bat here for Peguero against Chris Stratton as he rips the first pitch into left field, but that's not going to have enough carry. It'll be caught. And unfortunately, looks like the hitting streak is over. His first game with us all year without getting a hit. And ultimately, we do still end up getting the win. Cedric Mullins with a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th. His first home run since the second game of the year, which is really encouraging because Mullins started the year on fire but has been really bad over the last couple of weeks. Mason Miller had a solid start. Bullpen really shut the door. Overall, pretty good outing as we would split with Seattle. Fernando Molina is no longer injured. He got hurt during the very last game of spring training. We're going to have him sent down to AAA, and he will, of course, be in the rotation as I want to develop him as a starting pitcher. Let's hop into this first game against the Nationals. We're up 4-0. Munetaka Murakami has homered twice in this game already, looking for a third, and they want nothing to do with him. He will be intentionally walked. Can't say I blame him. It seems like when Murakami homers, he often has multiple. Sure enough, we would drive in those runners. Jorge Soler with a 2-run single and Jonathan India with a 3-run homer. Got to give Soler credit, especially because the bases were loaded there. It seems like Jorge Soler has done really well this season with the bases loaded. I think he already has multiple grand slams. Considering that nobody else on this team can hit with the bases loaded, it's very encouraging that he's been able to do it. Kyle Harrison got the start, went the entire way with a complete game shutout as his phenomenal start to the season continues. His ERA sits at 1.5. Let's hop into the second game here against the Nationals. A lot closer. 5-4, bottom 9, 1 away, tying run is on base, winning run is at the plate. It's the talented shortstop C.J. Abrams who flies this one into center. Jung-Hoo Lee is under it, and he will make the play for the second out of the inning. So it all comes down to the number 2 hitter to try to win the Nationals the game. It's Victor Robles who will look at the first pitch, lines it to first. Kepler deflects it. He will tag the bag in time as the Giants win the second game of the set by the final score of 5-4. Jorge Soler with another great game, 2 for 4, homered and drove in all 5 of our team's runs, including a grand slam in the third inning. Here in the last game, Logan Webb's got a complete game shutout. We'll see if he can slam the door. Runner on first, 1 away for Keibert Ruiz. That pitch was clearly in the zone, but it gets called a ball. Would have been strike 3, too. As Ruiz looks at that one, count is full. And Webb very well could be yanked if he allows another base runner as Ruiz puts it on the ground. Over to first. Murakami sent it to short. Over to Webb. Double play! And that'll do it! A complete game shutout for Logan Webb as the San Francisco Giants sweep the Washington Nationals with 2 unbelievable pitching performances in the first game from Harrison, here in the last game from Logan Webb. Elliot Ramos goes deep, his 3rd of the year, driving in 2 of our 3 runs as his excellent start to the year continues. Our one loss during this stretch against Seattle was Aaron Savale's game on the mound. He had his worst start of the year. 6 innings, 3 earned runs. Not bad for most pitchers, but given how good he's been, a little disappointing. So now we're 20-11 through the first month of the year, which is really good. 9 games over 500, but things are about to get real, and that starts here with a 3-game set on the road against the Cincinnati Reds, who were one of the best teams in the National League a year ago and have been even better this season. Now, the Reds are cold. They've lost 5 of 6, whereas we have won 4 of 5, so we're hoping that both teams' streaks will continue, and I'm excited to finally get an opportunity to pitch with Aaron Savale. Let's take a look at both lineups. No Leo Peguero. He'll be getting the day off. With his success, I feel like Marco Luciano hasn't gotten enough at-bats, and I want him in the lineup more, even though he's struggling. Hunter Green will be getting the start here for Cincinnati. An up-and-down start to his season with an ERA in the mid-4s and a whip in the mid-1s. Jung-Hoo Lee rips into the opposite field for a base hit. Death, taxes, and say the line, kids. Opposite field base hits from Jung-Hoo Lee, who through the first month of the year is hitting around 350. He, of course, has been fantastic. Munetaka Murakami hits this one high and deep into center. Back at the track, at the wall, it is caught. I thought that one might have had enough carry, but unfortunately it dies at the track. That'll bring up Blake Sabol. Runner goes for second. Throw from Stevenson is not in time. Blake Sabol, of course, one of the best players in baseball with runners on base. His clutch rating at 98. As he takes a 3-2 pitch, hits it well into left, but Spencer Steer will track it down, and ultimately the Reds get out of the inning. Let's take a look at Aaron Savale, who's been an unbelievable free agent signing so far. Through his first 6 games of the year, he's got an ERA at 2.3 and a whip below 1. He's coming off his first loss of the year in his last start against Seattle, hoping this one goes a little bit better as Garrett Hampson, who's had a great season hitting .314, goes down on the fastball. 1-2 now for Juan Soto in his second season in Cincinnati. Checks his swing. Umpire says he went around. You got to do something right to make Juan Soto swing or even half swing at a pitch way outside of the zone. Into the second, Soler with a grounder over to second, but Matt McClain makes a great play for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Jonathan India, the former Red, who singles into left field. India, of course, part of the Matt Chapman deal in Season 1, and while those two players have worked out with their current teams, the other guys in that deal, not so much. Jake Fraley traded away. Edwin Arroyo recently demoted to Double-A after a slow start this year in the minors. As Marco Luciano strikes out and Hunter Green is able to get out at the second, only having allowed the one base runner. Let's go to the bottom of the second now. Spencer Steer sends this one into the gap out in right center. That'll go for a leadoff single, and the Reds get their first base runner of the game. Matt McClain draws a walk, and now they've got 2 runners on with nobody out. Jamer Candelario, grounder to second. India deflects it, and he gets the 1 out at first, but now there's runners in scoring position, and the Reds have a golden opportunity to do some damage. Christian Encarnacion Strand gets that one by Munetaka Murakami. 1-run score is going to be a close play for the second, but McClain is safe. 2-run single for Christian Encarnacion Strand, and the Reds lead it 2-0. The former Giant Matt Chapman jams on the inside sinker. Good pitch by Savale as we move into the third. Cedric Mullins launches this one into right field. That baby is gone. Solo shot for Mullins, and the Giants are on the board as it's 2-1. Mullins with his 5th home run of the season, his 3rd over the last 5 games as he continues to try to get out of this cold streak. Back to the top part of the order. J.P. Crawford strikes out on the fastball. Crawford's cooled off over the last couple of weeks. Hopefully he doesn't enter a slump like Mullins did earlier. 2-2 now for Murakami. He goes down looking on the low fastball. So overall, a pretty good first 3 innings for Green. He does allow the home run, but other than that, has been rock solid. Hampson lays down the drag bunt. Barehanded throw is in time from J.P. Crawford. What a nice play there at the hot corner by J.P. That'll bring up Juan Soto, the 2-2. He sends this one 115 off the bat into center field. That goes for a base hit. And the Reds get a runner aboard here for Spencer Steer. He flies this one into right, and it is caught by Cedric Mullins. That'll bring us into the fourth. Blake Sabol leads things off. He goes down on the high fastball. As we know of Hunter Green, of course, his ability to strike guys out, and he's done that early and often today. He will walk Jorge Soler, who looks at the high fastball. Runner aboard, 1 away now for Jonathan India, who lines this one into right, his 2nd hit of the game. And all of a sudden, it looks like San Francisco might be in business. They've got 2 on, 1 away. Big at bat here for Hittin' Elliott. Elliott Ramos into right field. That one will 1-hop off the wall. 1-run scores. India looks to join. The play at the plate is not in time. 2-run double for Elliott Ramos. And the Giants take the lead. I feel like, sort of like J.P. Crawford, Ramos excels with runners on base, and it seems like his teammates excel when he's on base, as Marco Luciano singles into center. Ramos will score, and it is 4-2 in favor of San Francisco. An RBI single off the bat of Marco Luciano. San Francisco now leads by 2, but the Reds look to get back as this one is high and deep at the wall. It's gone. Solo shot for Matt McLain, and it's now 4-3, his 5th of the year. So far, Savale has not had his best stuff up to this point. Christian Encarnacion's Strand chases the slurve. Now that's Savale's best stuff. A filthy pitch. 2 away for Matt Chapman. He sends this one into left field, and this one will go off the bottom of the wall. Rounding first, heads to second. Ramos's throw is offline, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position here for Tyler Stevenson, who strikes out on the sinker. Big offensive inning. The Giants score 3, but the Reds add 1 back, and it's 4-3 going into the 5th. Hunter Green's day is done. He'll be replaced by Cole Sands, who has not been good this year. 9.27 ERA in around 22 innings. That's not even a low sample size at this point. Why do they keep pitching him? Murakami with a swing and a drive in the right center. At the track, at the wall, it's caught. Another one dies at the track for Munetaka Murakami as we go bottom 5. Ellie De La Cruz launches this one into right, and it will curve foul. 7.8 feet away from the pole. The Giants dodge a bullet. 2-2 now for Ellie here. Missing out on the home run, but he'll settle with a base hit instead as Savale is unable to make the play. Lee, meanwhile, is dancing around in center, almost daring De La Cruz to make it over to second, but he'll wisely hold up at first. We know he has the ability to steal second if need be. The throw from Sabol is in time! They got him! Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. What a throw there by Sabol. The first time this year that Ellie has gotten caught stealing. So now the bases are empty once again, which is a good thing because Garrett Hampson singles here into center. If Ellie had stolen the base, he obviously would have scored with no problem. So the throw there by Sabol saves San Francisco a run. Liner to third, caught by Crawford, and that's going to be a double play. Hampson was going for second, but that ball was caught in the air. A double play to wrap up the 5th. An unconventional one, but it certainly does the job as we move into the 6th with 1 away. Jonathan India singles into left field for his 3rd hit of the game. Big night for India, looking for some revenge against his old squad, as that'll bring you up Heliot Ramos, who drove in 2 in his last at-bat. He singles into center. India thought about going 3 at first, but he'll stay at second. 2 on, 1 away. Now runners on the corners for Cedric Mullins, who grounds it over to second. McLain fields it cleanly. Throw to first is in time. And the Giants leave 2 runners aboard. The lead stays at 1 as we go into the bottom of the 6th with the middle of the order due up here for Cincinnati. Savale will stay in the game. The Giants looking for 1 more inning out of him as they do trust him despite the fact that he hasn't pitched his best today. Here's McLain, who homered in his last at-bat. The 2-2 goes down on the slider. A filthy pitch well outside of the strike zone. Savale's 6th punch out of the game. Now against Jamer Candelario. He sends this one down the first base line and fair for a base hit. The Reds get a runner on, and we'll see if they can look to potentially tie the game. Christian Encarnacion Strand drove in 2 back in the 2nd, but he goes down on the cutter. And that'll do it for Savale. 6 innings, 3 earned, 7 punch-outs. Again, not his best, but certainly not bad by any stretch either as we move into the 7th. Nick Martinez out of the bullpen here for Cincinnati. He really hasn't been a whole lot better than their last relief pitcher. How do the Reds have 20 wins going into May when their bullpen's been this bad? Jun-Hoo Lee draws a walk to start the inning. We'll see if they can potentially look to drive him in, add to the lead. As J.P. Crawford puts it right on the ground for a 4-6-3 double play. You rarely see Crawford really mess up with guys on base, but he does there. Murakami sends this one up the middle for a hit, though. His first of the game after having 2 balls nearly make it over the fence. But he is on base here, and that'll bring up Blake Sabol. The 2-2, swing and a miss. A filthy circle change from Martinez. It'll remain 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the 7th now, taking a look at the San Francisco bullpen. Brian Baker will come on in with a 3.09 ERA and 11 outings, acquired in an offseason trade with Baltimore. As Matt Chapman gets that one by the glove of Crawford to get things started with an early hit. So the Reds get their inaugural base runner on board. That'll bring up Tyler Stevenson. Gets that one by the diving glove of Murakami. He was playing in, hoping for the double play, but since he was playing in, he's unable to make the grab. 2-1, no away. Huge at bat for Ellie De La Ding Dong. Crushes it into center field. Lee can only watch it fly. 3-run blast for Ellie De La Cruz. And the Cincinnati Reds take the lead back at 6-4. His 5th home run of the season. So Baker faces off against 3 batters. They all score, and he will immediately get yanked for Yariel Rodriguez, who's had a productive season this year. He's only allowed 1 run so far as he faces off against Spencer Steer with 2 away, and he singles into left field. The Giants were warming up some lefties, but they wanted to put in Rodriguez with the exodus of lefty mashers coming up, such as Spencer Steer and Matt McClain, as he gets that one by the glove of Murakami. I guess you don't have to be a left-handed pitcher for these guys to smack the ball around. 2 on, 2 out, and now finally we don't have somebody who kills lefties coming up, so Rodriguez is going to be taken out here for A.J. Minter, who looks to get the final out of the inning against Jamer Candelario, and he will! Goes down on the circle change, so Cincinnati leaves 2 on, but they drive in 3 with a lawn blast into center by Ellie De La Cruz as we go into the 8th. The veteran righty Matt Barnes comes into the game for Cincinnati. He's been a lot better than their other relievers this year, only having allowed 1 run so far. Jorge Soler leads things off, and he crushes it into the opposite field. A little Soler power here in Cincinnati. A no-doubter for Jorge Soler, and the lead is within 1, as it is now 6-5. Soler with his 6th home run of the year as his hot streak continues. Max Kepler off the bench. That should have been called strike 3. He just dodged a bullet. After looking at another ball, it's a full count, and he takes a walk. So Kepler with a very lucky appearance on base. And with that, the Reds go back to the pen. Sam Moll has not allowed a run this year. He'll come in to replace him, while Liover Peguero will come in as a pinch runner. Even with Kepler's struggles, they still trust him a little bit more offensively than Peguero, who still would have come in as a defensive substitution anyway. And with his speed, why not get him on base as he steals second successfully and is in scoring position, his 4th stolen bag of the year. Huge at bat here for Cedric Mullins, who homered earlier, but he chases the slurve. Umpire says he went around. And so the lead stays with Cincinnati, although San Fran does cut the lead in half with the solo shot by Soler. Bottom 8, Tristan Beck comes into the game. He has not pitched much this year, only 2 innings in 3 outings. Hasn't been effective really in either outing, allowing a run in both. So we'll see if he can rebound here, starting with Christian Encarnacion Strand, as that one gets by the diving glove of Murakami into right field for a hit. Murakami's a pretty good defender naturally, but I feel like he struggled today at first. I feel like he's a lot more used to the hot corner. Tyler Stevenson chases the slider. Nice pitch there by Beck for the 2nd out of the inning. And interestingly, the Giants are going to take him out for Genesis Cabrera, with the next batter being Ellie De La Cruz, who is not as good against left-handed pitching. The Giants figure, why not get somebody better in the game to try to get us out of the inning? But it's Ellie De La Cruz, and he does not care. Rips it into left field. It goes off the wall. Ramos completely misplays it. What is Jun-Hoo Lee doing? Ellie De La Cruz is going to round 3rd like a complete moron, and he is out by a mile at home. When he was rounding 3rd, Jonathan India already had the ball in the infield. Nonetheless, it's an RBI triple for Ellie. It's 7-5 as we move into the 9th with Alexis Diaz, the closer, coming in to get the save and win this one for Cincinnati as they look to snap the losing streak. Both of the Diaz brothers have really struggled in this series. Edwin Diaz's career best ERA since season 1 is in the 4s. Alexis Diaz hasn't been too good either, but this year he's been a lot better. Only 1 blown save, only 1 run allowed. With 2 away, the game comes down to Munetaka Murakami, who keeps it alive with the Giants down to their final strike. Sends it into left center. That'll go for a double. And with that, the potential tying run is at the plate. Who other than Blake Sabol to get the at-bat. Sabol on the 1-2 pitch. Hits this one high and deep and a right. Near the wall. It doesn't have enough, and it's caught in center. The Reds take this one by the final score of 7-5. The Giants had the lead late, but with a collapse from the bullpen, Ellie De La Cruz driving in 4 runs over the last 2 innings, it ultimately cost us. We had some guys play well on offense. Multiple hits, multiple runs driven in by Ramos. 3 hits for Jonathan India. Yesterday, I was at the MLB shop in New York. I was really hoping to get an Ellie De La Cruz jersey because, as you guys saw today, he is quite good. But for the Reds, they literally only had Jonathan India. I guess this is why, because he happens to be pretty darn good as well. As for the pitching, Savale was fine, but with how bad the bullpen was, that certainly makes Savale look good. He was able to hold this lineup to just 3 runs in 6 innings before they exploded late. Elliot De La Cruz in particular, 3 for 5 with a homer and a triple, driving in 4 runs over the last couple of innings. Hunter Greene did not have his best stuff, but the bullpen was fantastic for the Reds, and that was ultimately the difference as they take the first of 3 on the road here in Cincinnati. We're going to simulate these next 2. Our first series against the Dodgers. We've got some pretty good pitchers on the schedule for both teams. We end up splitting the last 2 games with the Reds, so although we weren't able to win the series, at least we didn't get swept. In our 6-3 win, Mason Miller got the start. He was pretty solid, but it was really the offense that was productive in this one against a solid pitcher in Andrew Abbott. Jung-Hoo Lee had a productive day. Elliot Ramos continuing to produce. The offense wasn't so great in this game. Pat Bailey had 3 hits. He showed up. Leover Peguero went 1 for 1 before being taken out. He ended up suffering a minor injury. He should be fine, but we need more production out of the vets. Elliot Ramos, Leover Peguero, and Patrick Bailey combined for over half of our hits. I feel like all of our veterans have had good seasons, but we haven't had many games where they've all been good. We end up losing this first game against the Dodgers 11-3, getting absolutely smacked. The offense wasn't great, although Jorge Soler, Jonathan India, and Leover Peguero all went deep. Robbie Ray had a pretty bad start. Hopefully he's not coming back down to earth and it's just one bad start. It is the Dodgers. Their offense happens to be pretty good. And that'll bring us into the second of 3 here at home against Los Angeles. Obviously, we would love to win this series, and we would love to win this series on the road next week in LA, because we don't want to fall too far behind in this division, because if we're a good 8-10 games back at the Dodgers, I have a hard time thinking we're going to catch up with how good this team is. It's a rainy one in here in San Francisco, but the show must go on. No Kyle Tucker for the Dodgers, their big free agent signing in the offseason. On the mound today for the Giants will be the ace, Logan Webb, who started the year off a little bit rocky, had some not-so-good starts, but over his last 3 or 4, he's been fantastic, coming off a complete game shutout in his last start against Washington. He is 4-1, ERA below 3, WHIP below 1. And with 1 away and a full count, he'll face off against James Outman, who's had a phenomenal season hitting .350. Rips it into left field. This one will go off the wall. Ramos gets to it quickly, but he misfires on the throw. Elliot Ramos has good defensive ratings, but I feel like he doesn't play good defense in this game. It doesn't really make much sense, but at least he's mashing the ball, which is what matters the most. Shohei Ohtani goes down looking. Nice pitch there by Webb. Mookie Betts goes down on the slider. Not many guys can say they've struck it out. Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, and Mookie Betts all in the same inning, but Logan Webb did exactly that. Bobby Miller gets the start for the Dodgers. The flame-throwing righty has really put it all together this year. 2.16 ERA, 1.10 WHIP, and obviously, as we know, this guy throws absolute gas against Jung-Hoo Lee. Swing and a miss. 103! Holy moly, he is hurling it! That'll bring up Elliot Ramos hitting in the 2-hole today. The average has gone up to 375. And, well, yeah, he's just going to look at the 101-mile-an-hour fastball go right by him. That'll bring up Munetaka Murakami. He's ahead in the count here, 3-1, and he draws a walk, looking at the 100-mile-an-hour fastball. The biggest thing for Miller is that the walks are down this year, which is really why he's been as good as he's been. Blake Sabol now, 2-2, runner aboard. Sabol still hitting above 300. As this one will be hit over to second. Going to be a tough play. Throw to first is not in time. Sabol is aboard with a hit, and San Francisco's got 2 on, 2 out. Huge opportunity for the red-hot Jorge Soler. His average up to 273 as he launches this one into left. No doubt about it. That one is long gone. Well into the left center seats. Jorge Soler with his 8th home run of the year, 464 feet. That was a piss missile off the bat, going nearly 115. He absolutely crushed that ball, and the red-hot season for Jorge Soler continues. Halfway through April, he had no home runs and was hitting 150. I really felt like he was playing for his job, but over the last month or so, he's been legitimately one of the best hitters in baseball, especially shown by that thing of beauty. Absolutely crushed. into left field. You're not going to find a better home run swing than that. 1-2 for Crawford. He goes down looking on the 12-6 curve. So Bobby Miller strikes out 3, but the Giants score 3 with a 3-run blast from Jorge Soler. As we go into the second, Muncy looks to get one back. If it's fair, it's gone. And it's just foul. 7.6 feet away from the pole. The Giants get lucky. Following pitch for Muncy. He hits this one well into right center. He'll still get on base out of it, but it'll only go for a single as Jun-Hoo Lee cuts that one off quickly. Nonetheless, LA opens up the inning with a base runner, as that'll bring up JT Realmuto, who swings and misses at the low fastball. Logan Webb already at 4 strikeouts today. Every out in this game has been a strikeout. Every time the ball has been put in play from either team, it's been a base hit. Sure enough, Taylor single into right. Play at third is in time. I don't know why Max Muncy was going to third, but San Francisco will throw him out. Good defense in right. Kepler leads the way. That'll bring up Miguel Vargas. The 1-2. He flies this one into right. Finally, a ball put in play that ends up being out, as Kepler comes down with it, and it remains 3-0 going into the bottom of the second inning. Jonathan India gets things started. The power numbers have been low for him, but the contact's been up. He's hitting 300, but he goes down looking on the fastball. Of Bobby Miller's 4 strikeouts, 3 of them have gone down looking. Liover Peguero's average has gone down all the way to 338. I know, unfortunate. As he goes down looking as well, that one clocks in at 101. Max Kepler now 2 away, full count, and he will draw a walk. That's a tough pitch to lay off, coming in at 100, just outside of the zone. He's aboard now for Jun-Hoo Lee. Singles into center. Kepler rounding second, heads to third, and he is safe. Bobby Miller still has not recorded an out today where the ball has actually been hit. First and third, 2 away. Huge opportunity for the red-hot Heliot Ramos. And he sends this one into the right center gap. Perfectly placed into Triple's alley. It's 4-0. Lee rounds third. He'll score with ease. Ramos thinks about third. He will retreat to second, though. It's a 2-run double for Hinton Heliot. And the Giants lead at 5-0, so much so that Bobby Miller will be yanked. Of the 11 batters he faced, 4 of them got hits, 2 of them got walked, and 5 of them struck out. Real 3-outcome pitcher there, if you will. He'll be replaced by the lefty Alex Vesia. Not necessarily a long reliever, but I guess they wanted the lefty-on-lefty matchup with Munetaka Murakami. They didn't want that run at second to score. Well, unfortunately for them, he's probably going to score. Single into center, Ramos will be driven in, and it's 6-0. As I said in the Cincinnati game, I feel like Heliot Ramos has really excelled with runners on base, and once he's aboard, we've been able to drive him in with no problem. Case in point here is Munetaka Murakami goes for second, and he is out. I think that was still a good decision, though, because Blake Sabol's contact against lefties is like 40. If Murakami was in scoring position, his contact would have been 98. And Murakami's faster than one would think, but unfortunately it didn't work. Let's go into the third. 6-0 lead. The Bats have been on fire to start. Logan Webb already has plenty of run support. And the Giants are going to hopefully keep this game scoreless for a little while longer. Freeman looks for third, though. He is safe, as Triple's alley ultimately benefits the Dodgers there as they hit the triple. Freeman's second of the year. He appears to be pretty fired up. That'll bring up James Outman, the 2-2, and he is out. Man, I'm sorry. That was terrible. As he goes down looking, strikeout number 5 for Logan Webb. 3-1 now for Shohei Ohtani. He grounds it over to short. Liover Peguero makes the play. 3 scoreless for Logan Webb. And even though he's been overshadowed by the offense, he's been quite good. Only allowing a couple hits so far. I guess 4's not really a couple, but you get the point. Let's go bottom 3. Blake Sabol back up as he will send this one into center. Nearly rips Vesia's head off. So I guess the fact that Sabol struggles against lefties didn't really matter there. Sabol's hitting over 400 this year against left-handed pitching, so maybe that shouldn't have really been a worry. He's no longer good against righties. He's good against everyone. As Soler launches a 117-mile-an-hour rocket into left field. To think his first hit of the game had less exit velo, yeah, that's right. The 460-foot homer was not his hardest hit ball of the day. J.P. Crawford with 2 runners on, lines out to second. Nice play there by Vargas. Crawford's slump has continued over the last couple of weeks. He's even struggling with runners on base, which of course has been his big strength since he was acquired 2 years ago. Big at bat here for Liover Peguero. 2-1, 2 outs. Tough one to lay off. He really wanted to swing the bat there, but he draws a walk. The one thing with both Peguero and Elliot Ramos this year is that neither of them have drawn a ton of walks, which makes their offense even more impressive. But if either of those guys get good plate discipline, look out. Bases are loaded. That means the inning's over as Kepler flies out into right. Unless Jorge Soler is up, this team's not doing anything with the bases juiced as we move into the fourth. JT Realmuto sits behind 1-2. He goes down on the fastball. Another scoreless inning there for Logan Webb, and the big lead stays at 6 as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Elliot Ramos is up here with one away here for the Giants, and Ramos has a swing and a drive into center. This one's got some carry. At the track, at the wall, it is gone! Solo home run for Elliot Ramos, and the Giants leave it 7-0. That's his 4th of the year. Hinton Elliott continues to live by his name, as that is his 2nd hit of the game. He's driven in 3 tonight. All this dude has done this year is mash the cover off the ball. He is turning into an everyday starter in front of our very eyes. The contact has even gotten better throughout the year. The power has gotten way better since the start of the season. I mean, he's legitimately been one of this team's best players, as Taylor draws a walk here early in the 5th. We'll see if this is the inning where the Dodgers can finally put themselves on the board. Miguel Vargas goes down on the circle change. Nice pitch there by Logan Webb for the first out of the inning. 2 gone now for the first baseman, Freddie Freeman. He grounds it to short. Peguero fields it cleanly. Throw to first is in time. That's 5 scoreless innings for Logan Webb, who is one of the hottest pitchers in baseball right now as we go to the bottom of the 5th. How is Alex Vesia still in the game? This is his 65th pitch. His stamina rating is in the low 20s. He is not a long reliever. But all things considered, he really didn't do that bad. 3 1/3 innings. He only allowed the 1 run, the homer by Ramos, as we move into the 6th. James Outman starts things off with a walk, and that'll bring you up Shohei Ohtani. It's showtime as he crushes this one into right center, and that baby is gone. The Dodgers finally on the board as it is now 7-2. Shohei Ohtani, anytime home run. Check. Hopefully Ippei made some money from behind the clink. Mookie Betts now, full count. He sends a rocket into left. If it's fair, it's gone, and it's just foul by not even 5 feet. That's the 2nd time in this game that the Dodgers have had a close one. Mookie would be out on the very next pitch, as is Max Muncy. He goes down looking on the fastball. This could be it here for Logan Webb, here against the catcher JT Realmuto, the 2-2. He lines it into left. Going to be a tough play. Ramos will not come down with it as it one-hops off the wall. And the play at second, well, there is none. It's going to be a 2-out double for Realmuto. You can't see him. You also can't see the Dodgers here down by 5. That should have been called strike 3. Logan Webb gets kind of screwed there. Following pitch for Taylor. He grounds it over to first, and Murakami is able to come down with it. The Dodgers add 2, though, with the homer by Ohtani, but they still trail 7-2 as we go bottom 6. J.P. Fierson is into the game here for L.A. Hasn't had a very good season, 6.75 ERA. Got to give Alex Vesia a ton of credit. As a guy who shouldn't be throwing more than 20 pitches, he threw 60 and did quite well as Kepler lines this one into right center, and it is gone? Or not? It's going to be a double for Kepler. That should have been a home run. Can someone who knows Oracle Park pretty well explain this to me? Because that hit off of the top of the wall. It's not like it went off of the wall fast. As you can see here, it goes up. And if physics makes any sense, it wouldn't have gone up if it hit the brick part of the wall. It hits the white part. Is that not a home run? Because the ball, again, it did not deflect off of the wall. It went up into James Outman's glove. So is that not a home run? Can someone enlighten me? Kepler's going to score anyway, so it's fine as Jung-Hoo Lee singles into center. The throw is way off. Lee probably should have gone for second. As you can see, he thought about it here, but he will head back to first. Nonetheless, it's an RBI single to add to the lead here for San Francisco. That'll bring up the red-hot Elliot Ramos looking for his 3rd hit of the game. He'll get it. Singles it into center. 115 off the bat. Ramos early in the year was hitting for good average, but I didn't think it was sustainable because he wasn't getting extra base hits and he wasn't hitting the ball hard. But as you can see over the last couple of weeks, he's completely debunked that. In this game, he's hit the ball hard and he has 2 extra base hits. Sabal hopes to get this one over the fence. It makes its way to the wall, but it will be caught. The Giants do add another run, though, with the base hit by Jun-Hoo Lee, as it's 8-2 going into the 7th. Yariel Rodriguez is into the game here for the Giants. Hasn't pitched since we saw him in Cincinnati. Against Miguel Vargas. Full count. Lines it to short. Peguero with a nice play for the first out of the inning. That'll bring us to Freddie Freeman back at the top of the order. Full count. 2 away. Rodriguez looking to retire the side as he grounds it over to second. Jonathan India fields it cleanly. Throw to first is in time. 1-2-3 inning for Yariel Rodriguez as it remains 8-2. And we move into the bottom of the 7th. Quiet game for Jonathan India. He's currently 0 for 3. The average back down below 300. But he will line this to second. I thought it was going to drop, but not quite. It's caught by Miguel Vargas, and that'll bring us into the 8th. Genesis Cabrera comes out of the bullpen here for the Giants. He's allowed 5 runs in 11 innings, which really doesn't look that good. But if you take out his first appearance, his ERA would be 1.8. He's pitched a lot better since that first game where he allowed 3 of his 5. As he strikes out Shohei Ohtani on the fastball, 2 away for Mookie Betts, he strikes out as well. 1-2-3 inning for Cabrera. We travel into the bottom of the 8th. As it's Austin Adams in for the Dodgers. He has not been good this year. There are a lot of bad relievers so far this season across the majors. He has an ERA at 10.13 as he faces off against Liover Peguero. He's 0 for 2, and he goes down on the slider. This will be just the second game all year where Peguero's gotten at least 1 plate appearance where he hasn't gotten a base hit. Full count here, 1 away for Kepler, who crushes this ball into right, and that one is just barely foul, 7.3 feet away from the pole. Kepler nearly had 2 home runs today. Instead, he ends up with 0. But he will rope this one into right, and that one will one hop off the wall. Kepler rounds first, heads to second. His second double of the game. And we'll see if, like the last time, the Giants can bring him in. Elliot Ramos is a triple shy of the cycle, looking for what would be his 4th hit of the game, and if he gets it, his average will move above 400. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen. He goes down on the inside fastball. 8-2 going into the 9th. Obviously, the lead is pretty big. No need to bring in Camilo Doval. Instead, it'll be Aniel De Los Santos who comes in to finish things off. De Los Santos has thrown the most innings of any of San Francisco's main relievers this year, and he's been a little bit up and down. Really hasn't done well against left-handed batters, but against righties, their average against him is sub 200. 2-2. 2 away for Taylor. He goes down looking as De Los Santos retires the side, and the Giants handle business against the Dodgers, winning 8-2. Bobby Miller struck out 5 in the first 2 innings, but he also allowed 6 runs. 3-run homer in the first by Soler leads the way, and we bring 3 more in the bottom of the 2nd inning from Elliot Ramos and Munetaka Murakami. Logan Webb with a good start, 6 innings, 2 earned. The only runs he allowed was off of the home run by Shohei Ohtani. Nobody had more than 1 hit for the Dodgers. Their offense just really wasn't effective. Everybody other than former Giant Mauricio Dubon struck out at least once. And again, with Bobby Miller, we saw some good stuff. 103 against Jun-Hoo Lee to start the game, but he allowed 4 hits, 2 walks, and all 6 of those base runners would wind up scoring. The offense was really good today. Jun-Hoo Lee, 2 hits, drove in a run and scored. Jorge Soler, 2 for 4, including the 3-run homer. But the star of the show offensively, as it's been for much of the season now, was Elliot Ramos. 3 for 5, double, homer, drove in 3. He has looked like a superstar this year. Logan Webb had a great start, continuing his fantastic stretch, and the bullpen did not allow a single base runner over the last 3 innings. Overall, a really complete win against one of the best teams in baseball. So after wrapping this series up with the best team in the game, we've got 6 games against the 2 worst teams in the game with the Athletics and the Rockies. Oakland, though, has actually been pretty good. Despite being the 29th ranked team, they're 22-16 in first place of the AL West. Let's look at this last game here against the Dodgers. It's a close one. Tied at 2, bottom 10, 2-1, 2 away. Gavin Lux checks on the circle change, but the umpire says he went around as De Los Santos gets out of it, and the Giants do not let anybody score. Can they walk it off here in the bottom of the 10th? Jonathan India has given this team some big moments in the 9th inning or later over the last couple of seasons. It's Soler on second base as India looks to end it. Single into center. Soler rounds third, heads home. The throw from Outman is a beauty. They got him! And the Dodgers will stay alive for a little bit longer. What a throw by James Outman to save the game. That'll bring up Blake Sabol. First pitch swinging. Rips it into the gap, and that should probably do it. Jonathan India rounds third, heads home, and there won't even need to be a play at the plate. He is safe, and San Francisco walks it off after all with Blake Sabol bringing home the run off of a single, and the Giants win the series against the Dodgers. That's a big deal for a team like us trying to stay afloat in the division race, taking 2 of 3 against our biggest rivals and probably the best team in baseball. Gotta feel good about that. Everybody produced on offense. Everybody had at least one hit other than Cedric Mullins. Liover Peguero went deep today while Aaron Savale had a strong start, 6 innings allowing 2 earned runs. This whole Elliot Ramos thing is looking less and less like a facade and more so like this guy's really good. He's homered twice in this game looking for a third. Would you believe me if I told you he also homered in the first game against Oakland? We unfortunately lost. But it wasn't because of Ramos, who's hit 3 home runs against Oakland in this series, 4 home runs over the last 4 games. Unfortunately, he won't get his third of the day with a ground out over to first. But the Giants would still take the second of 3 against Oakland, winning it 10-4. Clark Elliott was the one to hit the 2-run homer in the 9th, but ultimately it doesn't really matter. The dominance of Elliot Ramos continues. Again, 4 home runs over the last 4 games and 3 here in the first 2 against Oakland. And he's still hitting like right around 400. Kyle Harrison, by the way, 8 innings, 2 earned. He was once again fantastic as his great start to the year continues. And speaking of great pitching, look at Logan Webb. No hitter going into the 7th. He's only let up 1 walk in this game against Colorado, so we'll see if he can do it. He starts with Kevin Biggio, who goes down looking on the slider. That'll bring up Nolan Jones. He rips this one in to right, and it is going to drop. The no-hitter dies in the bottom of the 7th for Logan Webb. It's a 1-out double. Luckily, the Giants would win this game. Same score, 3-0. Logan Webb goes the entire way. Complete game shutout. He was fantastic, but he's really not the player I'm going to look to highlight here. Instead, it's going to be Jorge Soler, who went 1 for 4 with a 3-run homer, giving us all of our run production in this game. Jorge Soler, at times this year, has literally been the offense. Today, he was the only guy to drive in any runs. In the last game against Oakland that we won 4-2, Soler drove in all 4 runs with 2 homers. So over the last 2 games, he's driven in 7 runs, while the rest of the team has driven in 0. Yet we've won both games because of him. We get offered a trade here from Arizona, Christian Robinson for David Villar. Robinson probably has more long-term potential, but I like Villar's role on the team, so we are going to say no. Let's hop into this game here against the Rockies. J.P. Crawford, a triple shy of the cycle. Hopefully this could be the end of his little drought offensively. As he grounds out to third, he will not get the triple, unfortunately. The runner does advance to second. He would not score, and the Giants win this one 8-4. Another strong showing. This time it was the offense who really leads the way. Good start from Aaron Savale. 7 innings, 4 earned runs. As for us at the plate, Crawford, 3 hits, 3 runs driven in. Cedric Mullins at the top of the order. Looking much better. Hopefully he can warm up because his average is barely above the Mendoza line. We didn't need to hop into the last game against Colorado because we won by 11. The offense has been pretty good here in the month of May. Really, everybody was productive here. Nobody had more than 1 hit, interestingly, other than Liover Peguero, who went 3 for 5, homered and drove in a pair. Mason Miller with 7 2/3 scoreless innings. He wasn't able to get revenge on the A's. That was the last game we lost. But since then, we've won 5 in a row. Miller's WAR is only .2, despite the fact that his numbers look good. He has a really high FIP, but his ERA is in the mid-3s, and his WHIP is at 1.13. So hopefully he can continue to produce, get the FIP down, because I don't think I've ever seen better numbers for a guy who's been the worst starter in the rotation. Another really good stretch of baseball for the Giants, who now have the best winning percentage in all of the MLB. By record, we are the best team in the league. But again, we still got some challenges coming up. The Dodgers on the road. The Astros, who were 8 games under going into the day, they are over 500. They are back. the Marlins, the Twins, the Diamondbacks, and then going into June, it doesn't get easier with a lot of pretty good teams on the slate. Hope everybody enjoyed, though. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.